good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on what part of the world you're in. Now, the Epstein, the case that is involving so many thousands of people as perpetrators and probably a very high number of young underage girls. And I'm very impressed with the research that amazing Polly does, far more than I have time for, but she does an extremely good job, and I've seen her work on other occasions as well, different circumstances. Now, what I'd like to say also is that we are in a period of time, as I understand it, whereby the planet and the cosmos, I believe, is raising in vibration, in frequency. That means we are getting more light within us, and consequently that light is pushing out of us or up to the surface from past life events or this life events so that we can see and heal them. Now you will see in the description box that I have put 2 added videos in there. One is of the Metamorphosis Event, and that is an event that you can come to. All the details are down in the description box in the video, and really help awaken your consciousness and what your true reason for being on this planet is. The other one is the information I wanted to get out was a process that Colin was my husband, who's now passed over. He passed over 11 years ago, and the process is a way of dealing with the negative thought forms and the negative situations and also physical ailments that we might have. And it's a very simple way of really not only addressing these things, so embracing them, looking at them, but also an opportunity of flip-flopping them. In other words, how do you want to feel? What is how you really want to feel? Now, if we take it in the respect of what are we seeing in the YouTube news, let's have a look at that, because I don't watch the ordinary news, and I don't even listen to radio now, but it is filled with stories of corruption, how the Democratic Party is behaving, certain situations also in England, and there's a lot coming up. But there's also a great deal of positive things that are happening. So here we've got executive order blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. And President Trump made this executive order very early on in his time in office. So this is just at the very end, and I'm going to go on at the beginning and play a bit more. I'm only going to do this one so you can then use your time to watch in the description of her whole video, which is 33.22 minutes long, but it's worth it. She's done a lot of research, and it will get your mind connecting the dots.
Enacted this executive order December 21st, 2017. Executive order blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the beginning.
In this video, I'm going to bring you the story of another powerful person in whose orbit Jeffrey Epstein found himself. What I love about this story is it encompasses so much of the meta-narrative that's going on here. Because in my opinion, what we're looking at with the Jeffrey Epstein story is the tale of the way corruption becomes entrenched and grows and eventually takes over a whole system like a cancer. When you think about what happened with Jeffrey Epstein is he set up powerful people so that he could get blackmail and compromise information on them. And what is blackmail? Blackmail is having detrimental information on someone that you threaten to release unless that person does what you want, right? That's blackmail, essentially. And that's what one element of how Jeffrey Epstein compromised people. But he also did it by giving them lots of money. he would donate huge amounts of money to their foundations or their research that they couldn't get funding for any other way. He made sure that Ghislaine Maxwell invited them all to important parties where they could be photographed, and they could use these photographs as leverage. Ghislaine Maxwell, there are thousands of photographs out there with her, with powerful people, rich people, people we've never heard of, us plebs, we've never heard of them before. But all of these people, whether they actually committed any crimes themselves or not, can be implicated now by association. You see.
Now, I used to wonder, how is it that people met people? And of course, at that time, I think I was in my late teens. At that time, I didn't really know very much about astrology. I didn't know very much about the frequency, the thought form, etc. But since then, I've learned a great deal. But like attracts like. And also you've got the repellent aspect. Certain things repel. There's a wonderful video that was made, The Law of Attraction, and it's cause and effect. So when we start to look at the frequency or the vibration of people's thoughts, of course certain people are attracted into the area or the connectivity of others. So it's like you are attracting people who have the same attitude of mind or similar attitude of mind. Now, I've just done a search on Committee 300 policy because, and this is quite interesting here, I'll play it.
And the message that I am bringing you is clear, it is concise, and there can be no mistake in its interpretation. You must wake up now or be enslaved. The war has begun many years ago. The war was declared by our enemies upon us.
Now, this is very interesting because, let me come back to Polly. I'll put this link in the description box. I did a search on the Committee 300 policies, and that's one of the ones that came up. But the message, if we don't wake up, we will be enslaved. Now, what is Jeffrey Epstein actually doing? His intention, possibly, if it's correct, that his involvement with the secret services, maybe Mossad, etc., all this is being said, and I do believe it's true, but certain things have to come up more clearly, and that is he actually enslaved so many of the people who he offered these underage girls for sex. So then with those videos, he had them at his, we could say, beck and call. That's the evilness, along with what he was doing, and apparently wanting to impregnate young women to put his seed in it and get, more children of his fathering. But that is the evil, to use young women in this way, and also to use many people of the elite, so he had power over them. And obviously that was I would think, his job. And I think it was also Ghislaine Maxwell's job. So this is really, I think, apparently the First, Second and Third World Wars were planned before the First World War. The Third World War started in 1957. It was a war of information and a war on women and a war on men. War on women because in the 60s we were really sexualized. It was thrown in our faces. And very often the whole attitude was that if you weren't just free to have sex with anyone, there was something wrong with you. I balked against that, didn't like that at all. It didn't go well with me. But that was our society. So God bless. Very interesting. I congratulate the amazing Polly on the good work that she's done, and also this film that was made by Paul Flynn. So stay well, have a wonderful weekend, and yeah, it's about waking up and following our own God-centered truth inside, truth and goodness and honesty. God bless. Katania Alvin saying cheerio.